Good morning. We're going to spend a little time talking about the world of high drama, international intrigue, and cloak and dagger associated with archaeology. I saw a headline in I think it was the New York Post. Let's see if I get this right. Yes, the New York Post had a headline on an article today that said, U.S. seizes 1.6 million Epic of Gilgamesh tablet from Hobby Lobby. Now, you might recall that Hobby Lobby is an organization that is run by Christians, very conservative, and they had a hand in that Museum of the Bible, trying to elevate the archaeology and the support for the biblical, the biblical account. And they've done a marvelous job doing that. Curated, pulled together all of these valuable relics, and among them was this one that made its way through several hands to them. They paid an exorbitant amount, 1.6 million, for this tablet. It's like a cuneiform tablet, and it's part of the Gilgamesh epic, which is known in archaeological circles. And so they had this in their museum, and then it became known that this could be stolen. It could be Iraqi property that was stolen. Now, Hobby Lobby really initiated getting down to the bottom of this with great credibility and really good stewardship. They pushed this through, trying to find out the provenance of this tablet. Where did it come from? Is it legit? These kind of things are part of responsible curating of relics, and also verifying them as authentic and not forgeries, fakes. So they did all this. They offered it up then. They were the ones that really pushed to get a clear answer on this. And yet, the headline reads, U.S. seizes the relic from Hobby Lobby, as though they were doing something illicit, as though they were taking or stealing it or doing something wrong or illegal. The article says clearly that Hobby Lobby offered it to the authorities. It's amazing. And I wonder how many people see headlines like this and they don't bother to read any further. The headline makes it appear as though Hobby Lobby got their hands in the cookie jar and were caught, and as though they were doing something inappropriate with their Museum of the Bible. And the article explains just the opposite. One of the things that we'd like to think about today is that you have to watch out for titillating and very exciting headlines and for news that purportedly slants one way when the truth is the other. And I wonder how many people just go based off of headlines and presume and don't even think or bother to get down to the facts. I believe a lot of social interaction is based on false perceptions because people didn't bother to really thoroughly investigate the article. They just go off of news clips and headlines. The other thing I wanted to point out is for those that would have an interest in, let me get this lined up right, an interest in archaeology and some of the real game playing that goes on. This book, Veritas, the word for truth, is, as you can see, the story of some of that cloak and dagger, some of the BS game playing that goes on in the highest learning institutions in the country and some of the most profound theological departments around the world. As you can see here, it's Veritas by Ariel Sabar. And it's the story of a fragment, a parchment that purportedly discussed Jesus' wife. It was called the Gospel of Jesus' Wife. Long story short, this was a forgery. And it fooled a lot of people. a lot of people who had much to gain in terms of publication, in terms of money, in terms of reputation, in terms especially in influencing young people's minds, trying to pull them away from a conservative perspective of the Bible and a more conservative traditional understanding of the texts that support the Bible, and tried to yank them toward liberalism, feminism, and essentially destroying the traditional gospel of Jesus Christ. That book, I'll show it to you once again, called Veritas by Ariel Sabar, is going to turn your stomach with the egos, the presumptuousness, the intrigue, the failure to properly vet these things, the agenda to develop a very liberal perspective and story associated with this parchment. In the end, it was a forge. All these supposedly high-minded people who did not handle it correctly, who tried to go public and have their PR campaigns and their publications, all looked like idiots. And that's what happens when you try to stomp on traditional Christianity. You take the bait, you end up really trying to push through something foolish. And it's great that this truth has come out, Veritas, truth, because it shows you the way that these individuals will manipulate for their ego, for their agenda. And sadly, all of these would-be theologians, these theology students in the making, or the kids in the classroom at these universities, end up getting manipulated. And it's time that people really laid it out and showed you the huge egos and the agendas and the intrigue and, frankly, deceit and dishonesty that sometimes permeates theological departments because of money and because of pride. And it's great that these things are getting exposed. So today we've seen the world's got its spin on Christians trying to do due diligence when it comes to the provenance, to the origins, and the line of capturing or acquiring a piece of history, an archaeological relic. And then on the other hand, we see how people with agendas try to attack and assault traditional Christianity. And it's great when that gets exposed, because then people can really see that there's no strong evidence against the good old traditional Christianity, which is well worth our adherence and our love for the Savior. Blessings.